Catwoman number 0, written by Ann Nesenti, art by Adriana Mello. Um, okay, so this takes a whole different direction with Catwoman than we've had prior. So we get a few years back, nebulously placed, where Catwoman is working in the mayor's office, and apparently her whole job is that she's here to get like random trivia facts for the mayor during galas and also make sure that nobody wears the same dress as the mayor's wife. And she's shown this room full of dresses and designer jewelry and stuff like that, that she is to bring anybody who is wearing the same dress as the mayor's wife in here to get changed. And in doing so, she very stealthily steals a piece of very glittery looking shoes. So once she's back at her desk to do whatever trivia lookups or whatever like that, she starts trying to investigate her history, because I guess the mayor's office has more about like where she came from than even she knows. This jumps around in the timeline a lot, so I'm just going to give it to you as it chronologically happens rather than what happens in the book. One night she's out at a bar and she's talking to some guy, basically just making up a whole previous life, because she came from like multiple foster homes and like group homes and stuff like that. And she doesn't really know like where she belongs in general. They even show one scene here of at a group home, the person in charge, like the Miss Oliver is her name. She has these kids breaking into jewelry stores and stealing the stuff so that she can use it to like fund the group home activities. And Selena takes one diamond for herself, hides it in her cheek, and swears that one day everything she steals will belong to her only. So anyway, back to the thing. She's faking this whole conversation about who she is, claims that she's a surgeon, and the guy calls her out because he's an investigative journalist, and he's like, yeah, you've got a bunch of like calluses on your hand and stuff like that. You're definitely not a surgeon. Next time you're going to lie about who you are, make sure that you are able to completely cover the lie. And Catwoman is so like upset and distraught. She storms out and she's like, next time I lie, I'm going to make sure I have everything I need to make the lie stick. Like, it's going to be perfect. It's all going to be mine. So she breaks into an apartment, steals a whole bunch of jewels and pearls and stuff like that. And in doing so, she gets caught by the owner, who straight up decks her and throws her out into the alley and says like, you parasite, how dare you try to steal from me. And he just like beats her down there. Then this guy shows up, and I don't even think he has a name, but regardless, this guy shows up and he basically says like, hey, don't run, I'm not going to hurt you. The mayor has this program for down and out people called Second Chance, where you get a job in the mayor's office. I'm here to help you. Like, I can get you there. So this is how she gets in the mayor's office to begin with, is through the Second Chance thing. But anyway, now that she's been in there, she is looking through the computer stuff along with one of her coworkers, who is just like a total nerd, and apparently it would like risk their job to do this, but they do look through all of these Second Chance things, and they see in foster care, they get to Selena Kyle, where Selena Kyle is actually her AKA. She has a different name that is apparently some Russian name, and when they try to view it, the whole computer system just crashes. Everything goes down. And she's like, oh, who am I? What is my true identity? So later on, she is brought to the top floor by that same guy who brought her in the first place. And it's just like, hey, I told you one day you'd be making it big if you worked here. So just one question for you. Why were you looking yourself up in our computer system? She's like, I wasn't. She's like, yeah, you were. Okay, but like, why? And he's like, oh, I have to know myself. I have to know who I truly am. If Selena Kyles is just an alias, who am I? And he's like, you got to stop looking into this. It's not good for anyone. Do you know how many higher-ups don't want you to know? And she's like, but who? What are you talking about? I can't possibly forget this. To which point the guy just pushes her off the building, and she plummets down many, 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 many stories. But she's caught in a canopy, which breaks her fall just enough to survive. And when she lands, she's surrounded by a bunch of cats who start licking her up. And then she finally comes to, and she's like, oh, this canopy saved my life, and I made my first costume out of it. I sewed it using the fabric of this canopy. And we see her then breaking back into the mayor's office and trying to get more information as to who she is. Like she goes to the guy and just says like, all right, talk. And this is like a good year later. She's like, talk. I know Selena Kyle's in the system. Who is she? And it's just like, dude's like, I already searched. There is no Selena Kyle. Like, whoever you think this woman is, like, she does not exist. And then Catwoman's just like, but who am I? And that's the issue. Okay, so art-wise, I think that Adriana Mello does a fine job. There are some misses in terms of like some faces every once in a while, but in the general sense, I really like the way she does, the way things look. So let's get down to writing by Ann Nocenti. I don't like how this is turning for Selena. Like, her inner monologue before has always been tough with like an underwritten of, tragedy. She's been through a lot, and there's a lot of stuff there. Now you're throwing on this whole like, oh, but like Selena Kyle was never actually my name. Who am I truly? But like she's never expressed that she's had an identity crisis. Like she always has been comfortable in who she is. So now we're just throwing in this whole thing of, oh, but I'm not even me. I don't know. And then add on top of it, it just feels so melodramatic as well. I don't like where this is heading, and hopefully it stops soon. I don't think it does, though. I think Ann Nocenti has a very long run on Catwoman, but regardless, it just makes me see her as more helpless than, like a boss bitch sort of thing. So all in all, I'm going to give this one, I give it a 6, and like 2 points of that is art. So I hope it doesn't go down too far in this direction. Let's just get to where we're going and stop.